Ecuador's National Assembly approved with 88 votes in favor to move forward with President Guillermo Lasso's impeachment trial. Haiti's National Strategic Commission warned the country is heading towards an imminent famine if urgent measures are not taken. And in Sudan, the UN Assistant Secretary General for Africa warned of a worsening humanitarian situation in the conflict-torn nation. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. On Tuesday, Ecuador's National Assembly voted to move forward with the impeachment trial against President Guillermo Lasso. During the plenary session, the motion to continue with the impeachment process against the Ecuadorian president for alleged embezzlement was approved with 88 votes in favor and 23 votes against. 22 speakers addressed the plenary before Congresswoman Viviana Veloz presented the draft resolution against the president. The president of the National Assembly has to call a new session after the decision of the plenary session to listen to the plaintiffs who are requesting the President Lasso's removal from office, as well as the head of state's defense statements. On Tuesday, Brazil's Supreme Court is analyzing the fourth set of complaints filed by the Attorney General's office against those accused of participating in the coup acts of January 8th in the capital. The trial is taking place in the virtual plenary session of the court, a deliberation format in which the judges cast their votes on the STF page on the internet without the need for an in-person session or a video conference. The deliberation ends on May 15th, so scrutiny is carried out by the judges on case-by-case basis. The situation of the defendants is analyzed individually. From Tuesday, another 250 files will be examined. If the complaints are received, the accused will be subject to criminal actions in the Superior Court. Today, the Supreme Court has accused 300 people of participating in anti-democratic actions in two previous scrutiny initiated since the end of April. In Panama, several popular organizations marched on Tuesday to the seat of government to protest against the high cost of living. The walk started very early in the morning from the emblematic Belisario Porras Park. According to the March Organizing Committee, the aim of the rally is also to demand access to drinking water, a problem that plagues the population in the capital and other regions of the country. Other demands include the need to stop the government's privatization policies in relation to the Social Security Fund, the only public entity that attends retirees and pensioners, but which is immersed in a structural and financial crisis. They also demand better quality employment, health, education, and efficient public services. Haiti's National Strategic Commission warned the country is heading towards an imminent famine if urgent measures are not taken. Nowadays, almost 5 million people suffer from food insecurity in that Caribbean country. Experts refer as possible causes the depreciation of the national currency and the increase in gang violence. Meanwhile, agronomist Jean-Andre Victor, leader of the Popular Patriotic Movement Dessalinian, pointed out as an urgent task the consolidation of food production to cope with the growth of the population. Haiti, along with countries like Afghanistan, Somalia, and Yemen, face a risk of famine and death, according to the Global Report on Food Crisis issued by the World Food Programme. On Tuesday, a spokesperson for the United Nations Human Rights Office warned that more than 600 people were killed last month in violence in the capital of Haiti, which is in the grip of a political economic crisis.
In the month of April alone, more than 600 people were killed in a new wave of extreme violence that hit several districts across the capital, according to information gathered by the Human Rights Service of the UN Integrated Office in Haiti. This follows the killing of at least 846 people in the first 3 months of 2023. That brings the total so far to 1,446 people killed. And this is in addition to 393 injured over the past 3 months, 395 kidnapped.
Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador spoke by phone with his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden to address the issue of migration from a humanitarian perspective. According to the Mexican president, during the exchange, they agreed to strengthen cooperation for the welfare of the poorest peoples of the continent. The Mexican president emphasized the friendship that unites them, and through his social networks, he detailed that during the call they discussed drug and arms trafficking, The conversation between the two leaders took place before the May 11th expiration of the Title 42 migration regulations passed by former President Donald Trump and continued by Biden. The measure allows the U.S. government to deport undocumented migrants who arrive at the U.S. border. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news updates, and much more. All the stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the South. On Tuesday, Russia celebrates the 70th anniversary of Victory Day within the framework of official activities. President Vladimir Putin delivered a speech in which he reminded who saved the world from fascism. With the Red Square packed with troops, people, and former combatants and their families, the head of state affirmed that humanity is again at a crucial turning point. Putin denounced that a real war had been unleashed against his country and promised that Russians and their allies will defeat fascism once again. The head of state also acknowledged the contribution of his troops and reaffirmed that the only thing they are aiming for is a peaceful and stable future. The Russian head of state highlighted the double standard and supremacist attitude of Western nations and their allies.
However, Western elites continue to talk about their sectional nature and carry out bloody coups, spread Ruxophobia, nationalism, destroy family values, traditional values that make an individual human, and all of this in order to try to dominate and impose their will on the peoples.
China's Foreign Minister Qin Kan urged Germany to play a leading role in a sustainable security framework for Europe amid the so-called risk reduction called for by the regional bloc.
We appreciate Germany's and Europe's statements of not seeking to decouple with China. At the same time, we're also concerned about the so-called reduction of risk that the European Union claim. If they actually aim at the desinization under the pretext of de-risking, they are reducing opportunities, cooperation, stability, and development.
The head of Chinese diplomacy demanded that European countries refrain from undermining the principle of one China, which for Beijing would undermine international law.
Undermining the one China principle is undermining the international system with the United Nations at its core. Distorting and hollowing out the one China principle is distorting the international order based on the international law. Any party that genuinely wants to maintain peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait and international order should earnestly abide by the one China principle and firmly reject all forms of Taiwan independence activities.
Beirut protesters on Tuesday gathered in front of Lebanon's biggest banks to demand their deposits back after they were blocked by local lenders. The protest, called by the Depositors Union, was repressed harshly by the riot police and the bank security teams. Demonstrations took place as a result of Lebanese banks implementing informal capital controls restricting many Lebanese from money, which has already lost over 95% of its value in the last 3 years. The Middle East nation has been in the throes of an economic crisis that has left 3/4 of the country living in poverty. Since late 2019, Lebanon has fallen into the worst economic crisis in its modern history, rooted in decades of corruption and mismanagement by a political class that has ruled the country since the end of the 1975-1990 civil war.
Our mobilization is getting stronger and stronger. This is our message to the bank owners and all those in the state who are concerned. We, the depositors, will not forget about the old deposit. Today we are conveying our message with fire and blood. We, the depositors, won't give up what's ours. Not now, not ever. They have to understand that we won't explain it anymore. Today we went to the headquarters of Bank Audi. Tomorrow we will go to the headquarters of all of the other banks and to the homes of the bank owners, to their homes and their business. The banks stole our money in broad daylight and broke all the laws. There is no controversy. They should give us our money back. They should us back what's rightful ours, our deposits plus interest, or else. Today we are here to speak out against the crimes committed against us, directly by the Lebanese banks and indirectly by the political system and the Lebanese state.
And in the world of sports, Real Madrid and Manchester City will go into the second leg of their Champions League semi-final, all square after a 1-1 draw at the Santiago Bernabeu. Manchester City, the overwhelming favorites due to their deep squad and limitless financial resources, began controlling the game in the first 30 minutes. However, Real Madrid holds an incredible history in the competition and in a moment of individual brilliance from Vinicius Jr. put the host in front. Manchester City were fortunate to draw. When it seemed the most likely outcome was another goal for the Spanish Giants, they were stunned by a Kevin De Bruyne counter-attack goal. Real Madrid will now head to Manchester City knowing they can both score against the Blues and keep Erling Haaland silent for 90 minutes, and they will be hopeful of a return to a second successive Championship League final. teleSUR English continues to grow. You can now tune in from 33 different African countries through StarSat. Dial 461 and enjoy Latin American alternative broadcasts. One final short break and we'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back from the south. The war between Sudan's generals is having increasingly severe consequences for civilians, with a doubling over the past week of the number uprooted from their homes. According to the International Organization for Migration, more than 700,000 people are now internally displaced by battles since April 15th. An increasing number are also crossing borders to escape the conflict between forces loyal to Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and his former deputy Mohamed Hamdan Daglo, who commands the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Fighting has been concentrated in the capital Khartoum, but other areas, particularly the western Darfur region bordering Chad, have also seen heavy fighting. Also in Sudan, trucks full of goods are stuck in the port because of the battles between rival forces in Khartoum. According to truck drivers and those responsible for the goods delivery, the situation at the port may trigger a serious crisis.
We were here before the events directly, and we had not loaded our truck yet, and we saw the security situation in the country is unstable, and we are standing up to now, waiting.
What we live as those responsible for the transportation of goods is not hidden from anyone. All people are unemployed in the light of the war. And we in the transport sector suffer greatly because we have drivers who have become semi-unemployed and they have families and expenses and demand their daily wages.
The United Nations Assistant Secretary General for Africa, Marfa Ama Akiapowi, issued an alert regarding the worsening humanitarian situation in Sudan due to the internal conflict.
Outbreak of fighting in the Sudan risks further complicating the humanitarian situation in Abyei. A total of 535 people from the Sudan are recorded as having arrived in the area as of 8th May. Humanitarian partners are anticipating and preparing for more population movements.
Fighting in Sudan has complicated the deployment of aid operations by the United Nations Organization for Africa, said the UN Assistant Secretary General for Africa, Marfa Ama Akiapowi.
The reconfiguration of UNISFA into a UN multinational peacekeeping force is in its final stages. 3,078 military personnel have deployed out of the authorized 3,250. Again, the fighting in the Sudan has disrupted deployment routes, meaning that the scheduled arrival of additional personnel and equipment will need to be postponed, thus affecting force capacity.
In Pakistan, former Prime Minister Imran Khan has been arrested in Islamabad over corruption charges following months of a political crisis. Khan had gone for his biometrics procedure when he was picked by paramilitary who pulled him out of his wheelchair, hit him, and pepper sprayed him. The Anti-Corruption National Accountability Bureau issued the arrest warrant on May 1st. Since his ousting in April last year, Khan faced dozens of charges, all of which he denies and says are politically motivated. Islamabad High Court Chief Justice Hamer Farouk has ordered government officials to appear before the court over Khan's arrest. The 70-year-old politician was removed from power in April 2022 after a non-confidence vote in parliament. Since then, he has been campaigning for the early national elections to be held next October. Former advisor Sayed Zulfikar Bukhari denounced the illegal detention of Prime Minister Imran Khan as a violation of the country's democratic system.
Well, basically, it's a coercion of democracy. First, they removed him from power. Then they prevent him from campaigning all over the country. Then they tried to assassinate him twice. And now they have arrested him. So the process was very clear. They just didn't want Imran Khan to go out and create the kind of support that he has in the country.
Bukhari warned that the police are pushing ahead with repressive actions in spite of peaceful demonstrations.
We want to hold a peaceful protest, but if you look at the police, their aggression, in those who are disguised as police, they show up and use aggressive methods against us. They gas and use rubber bullets. They have done it bluntly. If you look at the videos, they did. We are still asking our people to take to the streets. We want to do a peaceful sit-in. We have the right to it because our leader has been illegally detained.
Senegal's opposition coalition said on Tuesday it would stage rallies over a threat to bar one of its leaders, Ousmane Sonko, from presidential elections after he was convicted in a defamation case. Sonko was handed on Monday a 6-month suspended term that could jeopardize his bid for the 2024 elections. He is also facing trial later this month for alleged rape and death threats over a complaint filed by an employee at a beauty salon where he went for a massage. His possible elimination from the presidential race would significantly alter the contest and could also lead to violence from his supporters. The opposition leader claims the judiciary is being used to sideline him from the vote. The 48-year-old politician came third in the 2019 election against incumbent Macky Sall and intends to stand again next year. We have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on our medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.